All right, what is going on today, chat? What is up? What is up, my people? Sky, welcome. For those of you who are watching me on Twitch, YouTube, what up? Franco, what's up? Dom, what's going on? Shannon, welcome. Welcome in, welcome in. We got a lot to cover today, and we're going to be trying a little bit of a different approach this time around regarding grade reviews. So we'll give it a shot. We're gonna trial it out, see how you guys like it. What up, Mike? We're gonna try a little bit different approach to grade review today, so we're gonna give that a shot. See how people like it. We'll see if it does well or doesn't do well, but it's always good to try something different, shake it up a little bit. Yeah, just starting, man. Just starting. We got Arlo's cards to look at first, then we're looking at yours. How can I send you a pic of my cards? Well, Kobe, you've come to the right place, my friend. All you got to do is click the link in my bio, and you'll go to my link tree. And then once you are at my link tree, you just click or tap the Discord icon, and then from there, you go to the Discord, and you'll go into the grade review channel. And then once you're there, you submit your pictures for free. It is first come, first serve. And yeah, we'll just review it live once you're up in the queue. However, if you want priority grade review to skip ahead of the queue, there's also the subscription tiers that are shown on screen that are available through Discord only. The cheapest one at the $4.99 mark will give you priority grade review as well as entry into monthly Discord sub giveaways, which I'll actually be announcing officially again for the month of May. I did a little bit of a sneak peek during Monday's stream. How many cards do you get cleaned on a daily basis? It ebbs and flows. Blah. Recently, I've cleaned a lot because I got a ton of cards back during the weekend show, which I'm actually going to start pricing today. So we'll see a little bit of that as well if I have time. Kobe, thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. But yeah, it honestly depends. I have cleaning services that some people submit. I have a few that I have to do this weekend. But it really depends. But, all right. Well, I think it's just time just to get right into it, chat. So if this is your first time here, welcome. This is grade review. So how this works is you guys in the Discord submit your cards to be reviewed on stream live. So that we, as the community, can decide what your cards could get as a PSA grade. So we're going to do our best. I've been doing the grade review for a while. So this is episode 66. It's happened once a week, starting Wednesdays for 66 times at this point. So we keep track of all of our accuracy, and it seems like we're pretty good. Crazy Horse, thanks for the follow. Appreciate that. I know a few people who are frequent flyers, like Rod and Mike, can probably attest to some of the past grade reviews as well. But yeah, basically just going to be here to educate you guys as much as I can with your own cards to give you a sense of what to look for when you're looking for grading plays. A huge trend that I notice right now is folks going to shows in person to try to find cards that are worthy of grading to try to get a quick profit. And what I'm about to show you guys throughout the stream are things that you need to carry over into those streams. So what's your average? I think the last time I looked, I have to update the Discord and the website, but my accuracy for 10 since I started to do more modern was around 87%. I think 9s was 88 or 89. And then 8s were roughly 92, 93. But I know a bunch of people have gotten their returns from the grade review stream that I haven't updated those quite yet. Yeah, Mike is kind of a proof of concept, I guess. So all the cards that Mike has submitted, for example, have gone through the grade review process. And again, we're only looking at this through a computer monitor, so yeah, we're just gonna get right into it. How do I show you mine? Let me finish this Ancient Mew, Will, and I'll definitely let you know. But the quick answer is join the Discord, which is in the link in bio, and then submit your cards in the grade review channel. Awesome, Blue. Thank you. All right. So first up, we are going to look at Arla's. So Arla is a pilot subscriber, so it's the second tier. So thank you, Arla, for that. And we are going to look at their Ancient Muse. So one of the things that they are asking in this is, right now they're asking for Beckett grade 1. So we'll just kind of assess this as though we're assuming we're going to be grading this as a PSA 1. So we will get right into it. It depends on the severity, Kevin. I know from personal experience that there are cards that I have that have creases that have grades. So it depends on the severity of the grade. Okay. So let me load up some of these pictures here. And let's see if this can either be a PSA 1 or if it's ungradable. So let's take a look. So if you're on the link tree, Loves, it's this icon right here. It's the Discord icon right there. All right, so as a recap, if you guys are new to grading, there are 4 main grading criteria when looking at cards. So those are going to be centering, corners, edges, and surface. So all 4 are kind of calculated in this level of accuracy, I guess, to where ultimately we have a grade. So they'll all get factored. So that's what we're going to be looking at right now. So the first off is the centering. So we'll do a quick recap here on how to measure centering. And again, I'm kind of doing this on a computer monitor, so you'll have to do this in person, but this will be a good spot. So if you're going to measure centering on a card, for example, this is how you do it. So you take a ruler and we go like this. Sleepy Boy, thank you for the follow. And yeah, I'll let you know how to join here in a second, unless one of the moderators wants to help me out. So first off, I highly recommend getting a transparent ruler with millimeter markers. So in this example, I'm just going to count these as hashes. So starting from the left, so right on that green line, we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we'll just write a 5 tick marks on the left. And then we're going to do the same thing on the right side. So from here to here, we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Fruit, thank you for the follow over on Twitch. Thank you. And we're going to do this. So we see 5 on the left, 7 on the right. So we do one of these bad boys. So 5 plus 7. So 5 plus 7 equals 12. And let's see. So 5 plus 7 is 12. So we'll do 7 divided by 12. So that's roughly 58. So 58 is going to be the ratio on the right side. And then if we do 58 minus 100, just to make it easy. So 58:42 is the ratio on this bad boy. So 58:42. So this, for example, would be no longer in a 10 centering contender. So the ceiling is going to be, so obviously if this card was in perfect condition, just from the centering alone, it would not get the 10. So we're kind of setting the bar of the centering right now. So next, we're going to look at the corners. So the big corner that I see that has the biggest issue is going to be this bottom left one right here. So you can kind of see that peeling up. How'd you get 58 again? So this instance, we did a quick measurement. So there are 7 tick marks on the right side and then 5 tick marks on the left. So you add the 2 together, which would be 12. And then you just subtract one of the values by the total to get the one side of the ratio. And then you divide the other by the total to get the other side. So 7 divided by 12 got me 0.58. So 58 ratio on the right side and then 42 on the left. So that's how you do that. How does it work? I'd love for you to grade it. Yeah, I'll explain that once I'm done with this Mew, Thomas. If a card is white dot in the corner, is it worth sending a PSA? It honestly depends on the severity of the white dot, Sergio. You'll see some examples here in a second. So the corners is really the only thing that I can see is this bottom left-hand side so far is giving us some issues, as well as we have some scrapes here near this bottom right-hand corner. So I appreciate that, Blue. Thank you. And so we obviously see now that we're kind of looking at the corners and the edges, the actual edges from what we can see on this image, we see a little bit of issues on this right side. But all in all, the edges are actually pretty good shape, all things considered, because we obviously can't ignore this huge crease right down the middle. Sergio, thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. So we really can't ignore that. So as we look at, I think they have different angles. So this angle, for example, right, we're seeing a lot more bends, a lot more creases on these corners. We have a lot on the middle here, the left and the right. So very, very damaged surface. So this is going to be very, very bad in terms of a grade. But they're looking for a 1, so we're going to see. And this is an example of what they're doing with those markers that I was talking about. I mean, centering at this point is the least of our problems. But this is a good example of an in real life example of those millimeter markers I was telling you about. Extra, thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. So as we look on the back, you can kind of see a lot of those creases on the front transferring to the back. So for example, in this section right here that I'm highlighting in green, so we have a little bit of that. We have some issues here in the top left, top right corner, bottom left, bottom right corner. So we see a lot of issues kind of going around. So the question that we kind of have in this situation is whether or not, you know, this would get, so it's definitely at best like a 3. So that's kind of where we're at right now, is that 3. So it's either 3, 2, 1, or ungradable is what we're kind of aiming for. Are they looking for a 1? I believe so, Eric. So in this example, I think that the hollow isn't shifted off of the cardstock, so that's good. Normally that would be an instant, you know, can't grade for sure. So I would probably say that judging by the front specifically, there's a lot of creasing, a lot of folds. The back is okay condition, which kind of is a really good thing to kind of keep it out of that ungradable state. Really the only thing that I'd be kind of worried about is how much this bottom left-hand side is peeling up. So if this is really bad, then they probably wouldn't grade it, because if it's actually peeling away and it's kind of losing that integrity of a card. Let's see if it's the Nintendo error. I normally call that out. That's a good thing to look for. So if you guys don't know, like what Tyler is mentioning, so if this is a Japanese Mew, one of the things you want to look for is to see if they spell Nintendo wrong, and it does not look like it's the Nintendo error. So in that case, it's not the big boy error. So I would say it does have a chance of getting a 1. The only thing I'd be fearful of is whether or not this corner is really going to be peeling away or not. If it is in person, I probably would avoid sending it in, because they might not even grade it. But if it's not like peeling off like almost like a sticker, then it does have a chance, I guess. I don't really grade 1s as much, but I definitely see a lot of them. That's for sure. And it looks like, so those of you who are submitting your pictures right now, I'm seeing notifications. Don't post in the thread for this episode, because I won't review them. So just post them in the general grade review channel, and not the episode 66 thread. Kobe is one of them. So just make sure you're putting them in that correct channel. So yeah, I think you have a shot at a 1, unless that left corner is pretty rough. So I see a few people asking. I think I included a close-up of the corner. Let me see if you did or not. Yeah, it was this one right here. Oh, okay. Yep, I see it. I think I just missed it. I literally clicked every one besides that one that you're talking about. You're talking about this one. So that's that corner that we were just talking about, chat. So I think you should be good, because it's really only just this part. Right here. It's really just that part that's kind of peeling up. So you do have a chance. So we should be good there. And so I'm going to load up these ones, and I'm going to tell you guys exactly how to submit your cards. I saw a few more questions, so just give me one quick second as I queue mics up. So, but yes, thank you, Arla, for that submission as always, my friend. So if you guys want to submit your cards for a future grade review, I do this every Wednesday starting around 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern. I've been doing this. This is the 66th episode. It's completely free to enter. So this is how you do so. So if you guys are on Twitch or YouTube, wherever you're watching me from tonight, the link for my link tree should be in my description. If you're watching me on TikTok, the link should be in my bio. Once you're there, you're going to be at my link tree, and you're going to click or tap the Discord icon. If you're on mobile, just make sure that you have the Discord app installed. Otherwise, it might act a little bit janky. Once you're here, you're going to go to the grade review channel specifically. You're going to submit your cards in there. Just make sure that you're following the rules on how to submit your cards. For example, if a card is in a top loader or a sleeve, I won't be able to assess it because I won't know if the scratches are on the sleeve, the top loader, stuff like that. So just make sure it's outside of that. And as a reminder, it is a completely free service, but it is first come, first serve with a limit of 5 cards per person per stream. You can submit as many as you want, but I'll only review up to 5 during that stream. So if you can't wait and you're impatient, or if you need to sell the card or do whatever, there's a lot of different reasons as to why you might need your cards assessed faster. The Discord does offer a subscription service, which is shown on screen right now. The cheapest version is the $4.99 or the Cadet. So all 3 will give you priority grade review in addition to being entered into a monthly giveaway. So if you want that and also support me, that is a good way to get ahead of the queue by doing that. So that's how you do it. Let's see. So I'm just catching up with you guys. I appreciate all the support right now. It's pretty crazy. So let me just catch up real quick. Is it hard to grade a card? It is if you don't know what you're looking for. So if this is your first time, I'm definitely going to be showing you some tips and tricks on how to do it for sure. When people talk about centering, is it like the border on the sides? Exactly, Han. Yep, exactly. Nice. All right, for a minute. Okay. Posting the grade review. Okay, Frazzle. Is it hard to get a 10 in a card? Yeah, for sure. 10 is gem mint, so it's definitely difficult. I mean, even cards that are out of the pack fresh doesn't necessarily guarantee a 10, so. I can't subscribe on Discord as only on mobile. Yeah, because the weird thing with the subscription on Discord on mobile is if you have an Android device, apparently that there's no way that you can, which is really weird. What set is this? So this set is actually the vendor. I believe this is the vendor series. So these came on big sticker sheets. I guess is the best way I can say it. And they kind of popped out. So it's the vendor series. So it came out of like a, I don't know, like a gumball machine type of thing. Just think about that, but in cards. But Eric, to answer your question, I don't know if I feel like I entered in or thought about DMing you. I'm actually going to be cleaning your card and one other one this weekend. So definitely vending series. That's what it was. So I'll be messaging you on that one too. Oh, he scored an ETB. That's sick. All right. So I appreciate all the follows if I missed anyone. And we're going to just get right on to Mike's here. So first off is the Slowbro from the vending series. So let's take a look. So again, for those of you who are wondering about centering, we're going to be looking at those borders. So far, those are good. Corners look great. Nothing wrong there. Let's see. What about not a whitening corner, but one that looks like a little lifted? Can that be fixed? It depends on if it's removed. So similar to what we saw with that Ancient Mew, Steven. And let me actually go back to that, because I think that's a good question. So something like this, for example, that's off that card stock, like in that white section. So that's actually peeled off of the card. So the only way that you could get that flattened out is you'd have to physically glue it. In which case you'd get hit pretty hard with an alteration, because I would feel that would be pretty noticeable. So if it's like this, there's really nothing you can do about it. However, if the whole card is kind of lifted, then you might have a chance if you flatten it out. If I want you to answer potential cleaning questions, what do I need to do? Where do I go? So if you have questions just in general about the service, probably reach out to me through my contact us page on the website. Would probably be the easiest way. How much is a sealed Ancient Mew worth? I honestly have no idea. Not on the top of my head. Mike does, though. Looks like 75. It's me, Gengar. Oh, nice. Well, what's up, Steven? Especially if it's slab, do I break it for you? So, I only take the raw version of the card, because I don't want to be held liable for cracking it and damaging it. It's very, very case by case of me actually doing that for someone, but the liability is more on me if I do that. If I submit my card today, no, because the queue is closed for today. But the sooner you submit, the sooner it'd be. But right now, I think I'm at what? I think I left off at a submission that was submitted April 4th. So just kind of keep that in mind. Unless you want priority, then the server offers a subscription that gives you priority. I stream every Wednesday. It really just depends on the order, Clinton, for sure. On how fast I do them. I try to do, I can only do really at max 20, because I like to take my time. I know I'm kind of yapping right now, but I kind of take my time with each one, because I don't want to just say like 7 next, 5 next, without giving like a full in-depth analysis on your cards. I want to kind of respect your time. Hey, Betty, what's going on? But, so yeah, let's review Mike's card here before he gets impatient. So Mike, again, is another one of our subscribers, so he's taking advantage of the priority grade review. So let us take a look. Centering on this is really good. Corners on this look really good. And the thing with these vending series that I always recommend, you can kind of see this little bit of like glossy texture. So some of these glossy texture cards pick up scratches pretty well, even for a non-hollow foil. So you really want to make sure, especially if you're at a show with a lot of lights, you want to make sure that you take these cards out of the sleeve to really process and really examine the surface, even though it's non-hollow. So in this section specifically, may have scratches that you might not see. So just kind of keep that in mind. So, but for right now, the front of this actually looks really good. I can't really see anything from that perspective. Let's see. And the centering is good on this. And for those of you who don't know, and I always want to make sure that you guys get an understanding of this. So for Japanese specifically, these older vintage Japanese sets, the way to measure the centering is right on this edge right here. So the red line out, like right here, that's where you measure the centering on the Japanese backs. I really like these. It makes it so much easier for me to measure centering. So that's where you kind of measure centering on the back. So the back looks really good, actually. I don't see any major whitening on the corners, which is really good, especially for the vending series stuff, because it actually just kind of pops off of like a perforated sheet. So it's actually pretty crazy. Sounds good, Betty. I appreciate it. If you guys want to help me get affiliate over on Twitch, help me out by just chilling over there. I'm streaming on Twitch, YouTube, and TikTok tonight, so and you get to see my face and possibly see my cat Faye running around, so... how much centering really matters, how much does it downgrade if it's heavy on one side. So the best way to think about that, Alina, is let me actually do this real quick. I kind of get distracted. I hope you guys like this, because I try to answer as many questions as I can. And Mike, I appreciate you being patient as I kind of do this, but I think it's actually worth talking about, I think. So if you go to PSA's website specifically, and again, as a reminder, I primarily grade through PSA, so everything that I talk about is kind of under their guidelines, but, you know, there's really no difference of it kind of carrying over to other. So let me get the guideline. So the centering guidelines for PSA are where I always have this bookmarked and I always lose it. Give me 1 second. Sir, let's see how it works. Type of cards, that's not that one. It's really annoying. But anyway, I know for the front, there we go. Did I find it? Established standard, there we go. Bam. That took way longer than it should have. Okay, so on here, so this is on their grading standard site. So for example, for centering on the front, it cannot exceed, and hopefully you guys can see this on stream. It might be a little bit tiny. because if I zoom in, it kind of messes it up. But the front, the image must be centered on the card with a tolerance not to exceed approximately 55-45% on the front and 75-20% on the reverse. The reverse side, I don't really agree with. I probably seen more of like 65-35, but that's kind of where that's at. And then 9 just gets worse. So the front is 60-40 and so on and so forth. So that's kind of how that works in a nutshell. TMC, thanks for the follow. Appreciate that. How do I grade on stream? Well, Aki, you're seeing it right now, my friend. Yeah, anytime, Alina. And that goes for anyone. If anyone has any other questions, you know, I'm here. These Wednesdays are meant for you guys. So if you guys have any questions about anything, whether grading or opinions on other grading services like Tag, I probably answer that ad nauseum. I'm also a Pokemon vendor, so if you have questions about from a vendor's perspective or what to look for when buying or trading in a show or anything like that, or what my favorite Pokemon is, which is Jolteon or Victory Bell, I'm down to help, man, at the end of the day. That's what I'm here for. So use me as a resource. Okay, so the back looking pretty good. Centering on the top, bottom, left, right look really good. Corners look really good. I don't see any little bits of whitening or anything like that. The surface looks great. Yeah, I think unless there's something else, Mike, that I can't see in person, or not in person, but online rather, I would just probably double check the text area, if there are any scratches specifically. But I would probably just check that and make sure that there's nothing crazy in this section. But aside from that, I think it looks clean, man. Especially the surface, especially on the front side and the back side and the corners, it looks pretty good. So I'd probably, unless there's something crazy that we can't see, I would submit this. The centering's great, corners look great. Those are really the big issues when it comes to the vending series cards. Let's see. What's your take on ace grading? Ace grading. I honestly don't know what that is, to be quite honest with you. I feel like I've heard it before. But it's not ringing any bells, to be quite honest with you. I think from, like, if you're collecting and with no intention on kind of reselling, I think you just kind of pick the slab that looks the best to you personally. Because if you're just trying to protect it just to protect it, I mean, why not, right? How do you see the card we want graded? I can go over that here in a second, or if a moderator wants to help out Perry. I thought that was AGS, Mike. I thought I was wrong, because I know AGS was a big AI grader. What's the ETB's booster boxes sell for at trade shows? It really depends. I would say, Paja, you know, research your market prices for sure ahead of time. Because depending on the show, you could have prices range from 5, 10, 15, 20% above market. So it really just depends. I would say if you're trying to look for a specific ETB, booster box, packs, anything like that, I always recommend looking at the prices ahead of time so that you kind of quickly know where those percentages are at. So that'd be kind of my guess. Anytime, Alina. Anytime. All right, so reverse rare Charizard from Evolution. So this one, I think you said, if I remember correctly, Mike, you said on this one that there is, let's see. I looked up a bunch of PSA 10 comps on the Zard, and they have the weird same thing mine has. I was afraid this was an imperfection. And you, I think, were highlighting this little spec, I believe. It was either this. It was either the number 1 or number 2. And just to make it easy, this one's number 1 and this one's number 2. So I don't know which one you're talking about specifically. But let's see. Have you ever heard of CGA? No, never heard of them. Both. Okay, so both you're talking about. Okay, so if that's the case, then that's just part of the card stock or part of the printing or whatever. Okay, so centering on this one again looks really good. Corners look good. The only thing I say, especially for reverse rares, because just from the one angle that we're seeing right now, always double check to see if there's any print lines near the text area or anything like that, because obviously I can't really see it too well. Leo, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. So if there's any print lines or scratches, just kind of keep that in mind, because I can't see it obviously on stream, but We just want to make sure. But other than that, it looks really good. In the back, top left looks good. Maybe that's like a little bit of extra something stuck on that top right edge, unless it's the mat that you have it on. I'm not too sure. Grandpa, thank you for the follow over on TikTok. Appreciate that. Top edge looking good. Zero white on the edges. Okay, so if that's the case, centering looks really good. I don't see anything wrong with the edges. So far so good, man. No complaints from me. So unless there's no scratches or anything like that, I think you have a possible 10 contention for sure. I think that's a pretty solid submission for sure. So yeah. And then I was gonna send the 1 and 2. It was those 2 spots in the front, right? Oh, gotcha. But then after you confirmed, okay. Gotcha. Yeah, I hear you, man. And so those are the subs for the night. So I appreciate you both for subbing. And speaking of subs, I think let me see, did the giveaway start? It did. Yeah, so if you guys are interested, so every month at the beginning of the month, Discord subs have a monthly giveaway that they're able to be submitted in. And so this time around, which is now active on the Linktree, this time around I am giving away a Breakpoint blister to 1 lucky Discord sub. So this one is the one with the Pikachu promo. So if you guys want to enter that, again, you have to be a Discord subscriber in order to do so. And if you click any of these Discord roles, it will send you over. So the easiest way to do that is if you're over on the Discord, you just select one of these roles. You can see Cadet, Pilot, or General. The higher the subscription, the more chances you have to win. And that will end on the last Wednesday of the month. So if you guys want to enter that, just make sure to subscribe over on the Discord channel. Not anywhere else. It's only Discord for now. And so I appreciate everyone that does do that. So make sure if you are subscribed currently, that should be open for you now. Can you explain how subgrades work, please? Is the final and average of the subgrades? Not technically, Arla. So think of it kind of in 2 stages. So you have centering, corners, edges, and surface. So the first kind of stage is going to be your centering, right? Because if a card is completely run through and like absolutely destroyed, but the centering is perfect, then you would never receive a PSA 1, for example, right? Because the average would never allow it to be at 1. So think about the centering kind of setting the high, right? So if a card is has a subgrade of a 7 for centering, the highest you could go would be an 8 if the centering was only within like an 8 parameter, as an example. And then it just kind of goes down from there. Did I say the giveaway is up? Yeah, it should be. If you go to the Linktree, it should be the top one. You might have to refresh, maybe. It opened up at 7:30. If not, I can try to figure it out. But it should be. So yeah, and then the rest of them is kind of like more or less average together. But the centering is kind of its own thing. The centering kind of sets the ceiling, so to speak. And then the rest are kind of calculated in a rough average. Okay, so next up is Flux with some Rayquaza action. So let's take a look at the Ray. So from Delta Species, that was one of the big things I picked up over the weekend, was a lot of Delta Species. So super pumped for that. All right, so let's look at this Ray. So the first thing I can see right off the bat is, so exactly what I was just talking about, Arla. The centering on this is a little bit off, right? So let's take a look at what this would be. So it's really the left and the right are fine. It's more of the top and the bottom that I'm worried about the most. So again, if you just have like a ruler or something like that, something crazy like this, and we just go to the top here real quick. And we go boom. And we go from top down. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the top. And then on the bottom, we go 1, 2, 3, 4 on the bottom. So if I kind of zoom out, so we have 5 tick marks on the top and 4 on the bottom. So that would be 5 divided by 9. And we're at 55. So if your grader was in a bad mood and rounded up, technically you wouldn't be able to get a 10 on centering because it'd be 56. However, if they rounded down and they're in a good mood, then you technically, on paper, are exactly at the maximum threshold for still being a 10. So that's kind of on the fence just to start. So the centering on the front, from what I'm measuring, is right on the fence. Corners look good, edges look good, with the exception of, and I just saw it as I was saying that, do I crack slabs for cleaning? It depends. Oh, not for cleaning services, I should say. Like, for me personally, sometimes I will. Like, if I pick up, like, a 7 that I know, oh, it got a 7 because of dirt, or an 8 or whatever. In rare occasions, if I see that dirt, I'll crack it open and clean it for sure. Because all I'm using is just distilled water and getting the dirt off. So this right here, I'm not too sure if this is like a dent or like a nail dent is probably like the easiest way to kind of explain what this looks like to me. So that might be kind of like a nail puncture. Honestly, JM, I have no idea. This is a Discord members card that they are getting grade reviewed right now. So yeah, I'm not too sure if that's a dent or what, but the corners are good. Surface is really clean, especially in the ray section. I'm not seeing anything major. So far, that's really the only thing I possibly see is on that front. Now the back, however, centering, same thing, a little bit thicker on the top than it is on the bottom. Left and right look fine. So we have some whitening here on the top right. We have some whitening on the top left with some scratches on the surface towards that top section. And additionally, we see a little bit of some edge wear or edge folding right on that left side. So if I were to kind of circle it to kind of show you guys exactly what I'm talking about, it's right about there is where I'm seeing that fold. Or that lift, rather. It's not really a fold. Jam, thank you for the heart. Appreciate that. And is Dudeness, thank you for the share. I don't know why I didn't see that before, but thank you. Bottom left corner, a little bit of whitening. So we do have that kind of going against us here. So yeah, so one thing now that I have a chance to kind of catch my breath here, and you guys have had a chance to see this process, we have enough concurrent viewers, both on Twitch, YouTube, and TikTok to do this. So I'm actually going to unlock what's called chat grade. So if you guys want to vote on what you think this Rayquaza Delta species would get, simply type !grade followed by the number. Doesn't matter if there's a space or not. So again, that's !grade followed by the number if you want to vote on what you think this Rayquaza Delta species would get as a PSA grade. So that is the front, and that is the back. Again, if you want to vote on what you think this Rayquaza would get, just simply type in !grade followed by the number on what you think this would get. And so how this works is that the winning vote will be the chat vote, or the chat grade. So that's how it works. So again, !grade followed by the number if you want to vote on what you think this Rayquaza Delta species would get as a PSA 10. I'll leave that vote for about 30 seconds or so. And while you guys are voting, I will catch up with chat real quick. Where am I from? I'm from New York. I just got back from a convention this weekend, so I picked up a lot of stuff. I just showed that off on Monday. So if you guys want to see some of the stuff I picked up, I have my YouTube VOD up with all that stuff. I'll let this run for a little bit longer. And so there's the front of the Rayquaza, and there's the back. I'll leave the back more than the front. So again, !grade followed by the number if you want to vote on what you think it'd be. And again, I appreciate you guys hanging out. Appreciate you wanting to hear me yap about Pokemon. If I have some clean cards, are they worth sending to PSA right now? It depends on how fast you need them back by midnight. Right now, their turnaround time is 65 business days, so if you don't need them back anytime soon, you can certainly submit them. But if you need them back as soon as possible, you're going to have to pay a pretty penny to get that premium. You're a real grader. I mean, I think I want to think I am. I'm not paid by any companies or anything like that, if that's what you mean. Pretty much everything that I talk about is purely from experience. I've been grading and keeping my accuracy, I guess, since 2017, and just been doing it for a while, and kind of carrying over some of that knowledge to you guys and answering some of your questions that you have. Yeah, that's kind of the thing, Danny. It's all kind of about what we have available to us. So the more that's a good point too, that you actually brought up, Danny. So if you guys are thinking about submitting your cards for a future grade review, the more angles we have, the better, like the more accurate we can be on the assessment. Okay, so I'm going to, let's see. I'm from Finland. Well, welcome from Finland, Alina. That's pretty cool. Send it through GameStop. Oh, okay. Yeah, I feel like right now GameStop. I mean, it's not confirmed, but I feel like a lot of people think this. I feel like they currently have a fast track into PSA at the moment, so it might honestly be worth sending it through there if you're. Plus, if you're not comfortable with sending it on yourself. Okay, so let me calculate the average for you guys. So you guys, on average, the collective hive mind, you guys are thinking an 8. Or I'm sorry, not an 8, 7. I saw 8 at the last second, but you guys are thinking a 7. So chat. So this is me really bad because my cat stole my pen. So I can't find my pen right now. So if you guys want to blame Faye, she was the one that took my pen. So chat, you guys thought a 7. So kind of keep that in the back of your mind. Midnight, thanks for the follow. Appreciate that. What up, Chris? What up? So now that we have chat grade, now it's time for me to grade. So what do I think at the end of the day this Rayquaza Delta species would get? So right now, after measuring from the top to the bottom, we're kind of on that 55-45. So I'll say, just to kind of be devil's advocate, let's say that I'm a grader that decides to round up instead of round down. So on paper, let's say it's like a 56-44 ratio. So you're kind of, the ceiling to start is at a 9. So it cannot get any higher than a 9 if the rest of it is in perfect condition. Centering on the left and the right are fine. It's just the top bottom. Corners look good. The only thing that is kind of hard to determine whether or not it's a bend or a ding is right where I'm kind of tracing with the tip of my mouse. I don't know if that's like a nail indentation or just something with the hollow. We kind of keep that in the back of our mind. Just, I guess, like, let's say that I am a little bit of a better mood now. Let's say that that's not really a bend, because I can't really definitively say that it is or isn't. So we'll just kind of say that that's just part of the hollow. But a little bit of whitening there, possibly in the bottom left-hand corner, but I'm not too worried about that in terms of what we're talking about right now. I'm not really seeing a lot of scratches on the hollow specifically, which is good. Normally for something like this, especially with this kind of darker or darker blue background, it oftentimes it's pretty easy to see some scratches. And on this one specifically, I'm not really seeing anything. So that's really good. So if we flip it over, this is where we start to kind of see some of the imperfections that are going to impact the overall grade. So the centering, same thing, transferring from the back on that top bottom, a little bit off center still. The top left corner, or I'm sorry, top right and top left. So here and here has some whitening. That is a little bit of a scratch on the surface. And we still have some whitening on these edges. And the big one for me is actually this illuminated section on that left edge. So it's a little bit of kind of a fold on that edge there. And something like that you could probably try to press out, depending on what type of kind of fold that looks like. But it's not guaranteed, obviously, but it's just something to consider. A little bit of whitening on that bottom left side. As well as a little bit here, but that's really nothing, to be quite honest with you. A little bit of some scratches here by the P. But aside from that, the rest of the card, from what I can tell, with the occasional kind of really mild whitening on the top here, isn't all that bad. So I would say a big kind of saving grace for this card, and one thing I just saw was a little bit of dirt here by the end, which you can probably just wipe off with a microfiber cloth or distilled water and a Q-tip. So I'm not worried about that, but it's worth noting. So I'd say the front of this card, to be honest, is in really good shape. It's kind of saving this a little bit. But depending on, kind of where we're at, depending on how bad this left side is, I would say you're probably looking at a 6, depending on how bad that is in person. But I have seen cards that have been worse than this, slightly worse, that have gotten 7s in previous experiences. But the only thing that I really kind of leaning more towards the 6 than the 7 is this right here may also be possibly a small indentation. Not too sure. I can't really say definitively. But to kind of err on the side of caution, those are probably the main areas that I'd probably check. So in my opinion, I probably would kind of teeter between a 7 or a 6, but more so the 6 than the 7, depending on how bad that left side is. But that'd probably be, you might be able to squeeze away with the 7 because again, I have seen cards that are slightly worse. I have the Dusclops EX to prove that. But that's probably what I would say. So chat, you guys ultimately were thinking a 7, and then myself, I'll kind of do like a little 7 to 6, and then 6 being that kind of edge wear on the back, depending on that severity. And then if it's not as bad, as in addition, if there's not that dimple and this isn't anything, 7 would probably be my guess. But yeah, that'd be my assessment on that Rayquaza Delta species. So before I do the Rayquaza VMAX, I'm just going to catch up with chat real quick. Let's see. My GameStop is returning all my orders within 35 days. Steven, that's really good, actually. Are graders harsher on modern versus vintage? It kind of depends, to be quite honest with you, Brandon. There are instances, and it has been documented in certain cases. So kind of like, it's actually kind of interesting. There are kind of two kind of hidden grading criteria for PSA or BGS, which is eye appeal and the kind of the impact of the card itself. So like if there's a really high value card of like really big significance, there's a lot more eyes and a lot more pressure to get the grade right. And then the eye appeal part where yes, on paper it might look good, but in reality, when you're looking at it, you can kind of tell, okay, yes, it's within the range, but it's off center, as an example, or there's a scratch on the front that's really minimal, but I can see it on the front versus on the back, and that kind of takes away as well. That's why I'm a huge advocate of as to the back ratio instead of the 75-25. I'm not personally a big believer in that because of that kind of eye appeal section. But can we submit cards? You certainly can, Bad. If you're still in here, let me know and I'll go over. Or if anyone else needs to know how to submit your cards, I can talk about it after this Rayquaza. Yeah, I know. It's pretty tough, Frazzle, if you're on mobile. Did you do the Latios already get graded? I don't know if I did or not. I don't think I've looked at any Latios yet, but Frederick, what's going on, man? I just don't understand how GameStop is doing that, but everyone else is 60 days plus. How they probably have some agreement, to be honest, Steven. They probably have some agreement with PSA. I am Frederick. Yep, absolutely for free. At the end of the day, I think it's really important to educate the community as much as you can, especially right now. One thing I will say, as kind of like an insider, I guess, Galaxia Gaming tip, you heard it here first. So since PSA is so backlogged, this is your chance to, you have a much better chance at picking up cards that are potentially grade worthy out in the wild, because certain businesses, certain vendors can't afford to have their cards be out in PSA's hands for 65 business days or more. So instead, it might be worth more for them, or a better return on their investment, to simply sell the card raw. So you'll have a better chance at looking up or finding better grading plays now more than ever. Because 65 business days, that's a long time for a business to have a card and kind of have that money held up. So kind of keep that in mind. Okay, let's see. The Latios card, I don't think I've looked at one yet. But let's look at this Rayquaza real quick. And then I'll go and I'll explain it here in a second, Bat. I just saw that you yeah, so just give me 1 second, I'll go over that. So this Rayquaza. So as a refresher, for those of you who don't know where to measure centering for a VMAX card, since VMAXs have some full border or non-existent borders on the top half, so you're really looking at this section right here. These thick white lines here on the left and the right. So that's really where you're measuring centering on a VMAX card, right where I have highlighted. So kind of keep that in your mind. So at first glance, if we were to kind of measure that to kind of put proof of concept here. So let me just do the show ruler action. And we're going to, again, we're going to kind of talk loosely. I use a millimeter ruler, but so we'll just kind of make it easy for you guys to follow along. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 marks on the left. And then got boom, boom. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're at that 5, 4 on this one. So again, we're at that 55, 45 ratio. So on paper, that's exactly the maximum threshold you can still be within a PSA 10. So your ceiling is set at a 10 if we're following PSA standards here. Corners look good. The front looks good. The back, however, there is no whitening on the corners. Again, that off-centering on the front kind of showing up on the back a little bit. The only thing that I see, and I'll actually let you guys, I'll let you guys chime in on something that I'm seeing that might kind of make or break this being a 10, depending on what it is. Right heavy, it is right heavy, but if we're following PSA standards, that should be within that 75-25 ratio. But there is something, and it might be, let's see, that is not on my monitor. it is on the card. So let's see. Right heavy. There is something else that I'm kind of looking at that isn't centering related, and these are some things that we have to consider and pick up on when we're doing grading. Yes, Chris and Jack, you are correct. So this right here. So, you know, obviously we're looking at this on a computer screen or a phone, but this right here, this black dot on the bottom of that Pokeball. So I don't know, for example, I don't know if that is dirt or if that is like an ink dot or something like that. So something like this, if it is dirt, one of the things that I do for all my cards, and I did this on Monday, is I would take something like a Q-tip and some distilled water and very, very gently try to rub that off to where it just picks right off. So if that's the case, then that should be good. If it is a ding or like a pressure dent or something like that, just as an example, then obviously it wouldn't get the 10. But if it's an ink dot, you might be on the fence of it getting a 10, but probably not. And the reason why I still probably wouldn't even think to submit this if that's still on there is because I would say like your projected return on your investment, if you're trying to look at it from an investment perspective, you'd kind of be putting more money into this than you'd probably be getting out of it, to be quite honest with you. So I probably wouldn't submit this regardless. Because again, the front, you're still on that 55-45 ratio. But if they round up, then you'd be out of that already. But that would be another one. So I'd say this probably would get a 9 for me. Because again, the centering on the back is still within that 75-25, and then the front is still within that 60-40, at least for like the threshold for a 9. But just judging by this card and not being like a crazy expensive card, it probably wouldn't be totally worth submitting this, to be quite honest with you. But let's see. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too, Chris. Gengar, thanks for the follow. Appreciate that. Jay, thanks for the follow. Fizzle, thanks for the follow. Something I personally do is go to my GameStop and look at their bulk slabs. Yeah, man. Resell on eBay, somehow profitable but slow. Yeah, it sounds like there's some work to it for sure, doing something like that. Okay, so I know for a fact that Bad Speed has been very patient with me, so I appreciate that. And so anyone else that wants to know how to submit your cards for a free grade review, now's your chance to listen up. So here's how to do it. So if you're watching me on Twitch or YouTube, my Linktree link is going to be in my description. If you're watching me on TikTok, my link is going to be in the bio. So once you are here, you're going to see the Discord icon. So you're just going to click or tap that. If you're on mobile, just make sure to have the Discord app installed. Otherwise, it might act a little bit weird, a little bit funky. So you might have to wait until you're on PC. Once you're there, the next thing you're going to do is navigate to the grade review channel. And you're going to submit your cards in the grade review channel for a free submission. Just make sure to review the pin messages or reach out to a moderator on how to properly submit your cards. For example, if a card is in a penny sleeve or a top loader, I won't review it because if there's a scratch, I don't know if it's on the sleeve or on the top loader or on the card, and it makes it harder for me to give you an accurate assessment. So just make sure to follow the rules. So like I said, it is a free service, but it is first come, first serve, and I'll only review up to 5 cards per person per stream. So you can submit as many as you want, but for example, if you submit 20 cards, I'll only review the first 5 week 1, the second 5 week 2, so on and so forth until you're complete. So if you guys want priority grade review, meaning that you can skip the non-subscribers, the Discord server does offer subscription tiers. The cheapest one starting at Cadet, which is $4.99, and it goes up. So not only does that give you priority grade review each week, but it also allows you to enter into our Discord monthly giveaway. And so right now that is actually active, and this month's giveaway prize is a Pokemon Breakpoint Check Lane Blister with the Pikachu promo. So that's roughly, in the condition that it's in, it's a roughly an $80 value. So that is going to be offered as a monthly subscriber giveaway to Discord members. So if you want all those benefits, and including supporting me and what I do on these streams, I definitely appreciate that. And that is how you do it in a nutshell. Raquel, thank you for the rose. Appreciate that. Let's see. I'm just going to read some of the questions that you guys are asking are actually really good. So for example, this one, would people still buy PSA 9? I think so, Chris. I think there are certain people still, especially in kind of the state of the economy that we're in. You have a lot more buying power when you're looking at 9s compared to 10s. So I think, personally, I think it's still a really good option for folks who want to have a little bit more buying power to buy 9s. Now, for me personally, when I grade for vintage, I normally grade if I think it's gonna be an 8 or higher, and then for modern, I only grade if I think it's gonna get a 10. But for vintage collectors, I think it's great. But let's see. I haven't heard they beat the quoted 65. Yeah. Okay, perfect. All right, so next up is going to be DJ with the Charizard EX from Paldean Fates. So let's take a look. So for what I was just talking about, actually, is a really good segue. So modern, one of the big things that I look for modern specifically is centering and corners. Those are really the main things wrong with modern cards specifically. Unless you kind of throw them down a flight of stairs, you're so excited that you open up this Charizard EX. Those are probably the main 2 things I look for. And this is going to answer, so if you guys have ever asked in the past or asked during this chat and I didn't read it, kind of the significance of whitening, we're actually going to be going over that right now, so make sure to pay attention to this part as I drink some of my coffee here. So first off is the centering. So centering of this Zard looks great. Nothing really to be concerned about. The corners look good. So the top left, top right, looking good so far. The only thing that I might see, but this is kind of really pushing it, bought a new desk chair in the backrest is amazing. That's awesome, man. Getting a new chair is always a good experience. Maybe a little bit of fold on the bottom left, but that might kind of be stretching it. So let's see. The guy that you traded his first Dark Blastoise a few months ago. Love stopping by. Awesome, Bailey. Well, welcome back, man. Hopefully things are good. So on the back, let's see. 45-55 ratio. It's solid. Yeah, for sure. When the corner is cut a little weird, does it affect the grade? If you get me, yeah, I think I understand what you're saying, Eric. Sometimes it does, depending on the kind of the severity of the cut, I guess. Um, but I'd have to kind of see it. But I know exactly what you're talking about. It is kind of hard to articulate, isn't it? Okay, so the top right corner is good. So there's no little whitening or anything like that. Top left looks good. The little bit of whitening that you guys might be seeing is kind of this like checkerboard pattern on the background. So I'm not really worried about that. One thing that I will highlight, and I'm going to keep my mouse here for a second, is that you can see this little white speck on the edge of that card right here and towards the bottom right. So those are a great example of why I think it's so important to really double check your cards before you submit them, even if you just pulled them from a fresh pack. So something like this can be easily looked over because some of the white card stock that's kind of in the pack and kind of in the process, those little particles might float around within the pack and get stuck to the kind of the surface or the dimples of the card. Which in turn will impact the surface if left untreated. So these are very simple to just wipe off with a microfiber cloth and gives PSA no wiggle room to knock you down a little bit on surface. So this right here where the tip of my mouse is, as well as here where the tip of my mouse is, just make sure to clean those off. Because if those are left on there, that actually might prevent you from getting the 10 because your surface would probably get impacted by that. But if, from this example, if we were to get that off, I don't see any whitening on the corners. This could actually get a PSA 10 grade because the centering and corners look great. It's just if you just need to wipe those off if possible. But yeah, very, very nice Charizard EX for sure. Let's see. And let me catch up with chat here. Bay, thank you for sharing the live. Appreciate that. And if you guys are enjoying yourself, I definitely appreciate you guys liking or sharing the live. It really does mean a lot. If you guys have any questions or anything like that, I'm basically here as a resource to you. One of the big things I like to advocate in this channel and for the content that I provide is to basically just educate. There's a lot of uncertainty and a lot of people trying to drag people in different directions. And my goal is to try to help the collector out as much as possible and educate as much as possible. So that's why I'm here. Can I check my card? Right now, the queue is closed for tonight, Jordan, but if you submit your cards in the Discord's grade review channel, it'll definitely be added to a queue in the future. Jordan, thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. Anytime, Donnie. First come, first serve. Yep. Did Walmart drop EST time? I don't know if Walmart did. I honestly haven't checked because, to be quite honest with you, I have quite a bit of product fatigue at the moment. So I don't even look anymore, to be quite honest with you. But it was today, yeah. So a lot of people were waiting on the Pokemon Center website to get the Pokemon Center ETBs. So I definitely know that it started to be released for pre-sale officially today. Okay, next up is Joey with Ends Zoroark EX. So let us take a look. So the first thing is the centering. So the centering to me looks good. Top, bottom, left, right looks good. One thing that I don't know if it's just the paper that's behind as acting as the background or the card itself. You can kind of see this like bit of shadow. So you can kind of see it get fat and then thinner. That tells me that there's a bend somewhere or kind of like bowing somewhere. So if this is on the card, if the card is bowing, like if it's been left out and the humidity kind of got to it, just make sure to kind of press it in between some heavy books or something like that, just to kind of flatten it out, because you don't want someone to give you like any weird surface issues to knock you down several grades, because again, it's pack fresh, so that's really be the only thing. So I would just kind of do that. If the card is starting to bow, it's not that big of a deal. Just make sure to flatten it out. And then on the back, so it does look like it is the card specifically because you can kind of see it going over. So definitely flatten that out for sure. Frazzle 121 here in the UK. Going to sign off and watch the rest in the morning. Awesome. I appreciate that, Frazzle. Thank you so much for the good vibes and have a good night, my friend. All right. So centering again looks good. So the only thing that I see is going to be on this side right here. So if you guys, I don't know if you guys can see that. It's super, super dark, and I apologize if it's a little bit too dark. I'll actually kind of zoom in just a tad, just to make sure. But right here, there's a little bit of whitening there on that right side. So if that is the case, so I'll give you kind of two options. So if that is whitening on the edge, this most likely would not get the 10. because it's more on that edge side. Um, in addition, there is some whitening here on the bottom right anyway, right on that corner. But if this is just something that you can simply wipe off, I still think, just based off of what I'm seeing now in that bottom right-hand corner, that looks to be a little bit too much whitening. Sometimes it feels a little less, and it's kind of hard to kind of gauge that during stream. But if the whitening wasn't like a little bit better, then you might be able to get the 10. But I think because of those two, it might not get the 10 and probably just get the 9. Do they knock off points when cards are a little curved like that? Raquel, I would say that there's no definitive. I would say more yes than no, because in certain situations when it kind of gets sealed into the process, it would flatten it out naturally. But as a precaution, if this was my card, like I was kind of saying in the beginning, I would probably just flatten this out. The easiest way that's the most accessible would be to put it in a penny sleeve and put it in the center of like a heavy book and put a lot of pressure on it to kind of flatten it out. But what I actually use is acrylic plates, kind of do the same thing and use clamps to kind of press it down. So those are both ways. The more accessible way, obviously, is the books. But if you want to kind of do a little bit more, clamps and acrylic would probably be to do the best. Because I agree, I don't want PSA even thinking about docking any points off of the surface because it was a little bit curved or bowed. So. All right, up next is Benjamin. So let's take a look at Benjamin's cards. So same thing, a little bit, some modern going on here. So let's take a look. So first up is the Zapdos EX from 151. And again, as a reminder, guys, if anyone has any questions about what I'm doing or wants my insight on anything, as some background, if you're new here, I do not only grade review help and card cleaning and processing, I also am a Pokemon vendor. So I buy, sell, trade. I have a lot of different opinions and a lot of different techniques that I use to kind of be successful in a very competitive space. So if anyone's looking for any advice on how to start or anything like that, I'm always happy to talk about that as well. Raquel, thank you for the hearts. Appreciate that. And if you guys are enjoying what you're seeing tonight, if you don't mind helping me out by just simply liking or sharing the live, it really does mean a lot. The algorithm loves that type of stuff, so definitely appreciate it. So let's get back to the Zapdos EX. Lazo, thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. So again, with Modern, we're really trying to just taking a look at centering and corners. Those are the main issues that we often see. So the one thing that I'm going to look at, and I'll just kind of do this because we do have a little bit more new viewers. So we're going to measure the centering real quick. Where do you recommend getting booster boxes, just like card shops, or how? I would say the best way to get booster boxes would probably be if you have a relationship with your local game store. You might be able to, maybe get an announcement on when pre-releases start for them, or just kind of build that relationship. Another one would probably be looking at larger kind of online stores. Is probably the next best step. Things like Dave and Adams or Blowout Cards, like one of the larger retailers of that space. Granted, it's going to be higher than MSRP in most cases, but in this market, that's probably the easiest way to do it. But that's what I personally do. Or if you're lucky and you have either a physical presence or you have a large online presence, you could get distribution to get at less than MSRP. But yeah, I hear you, Raquel. It's crazy. I've honestly given up, to be quite honest with you. It's just a lot. Bots are just rampant. And until they're stopped, then it's really not much you can do. Do you think you should ever order them online? That's what I do. I would just do it from a reputable company, though, to be quite honest with you. That's why I personally, like, anytime I do sealed product, I always go through, like, what I was talking, Dave and Adams or Blowout Cards, or like a larger, more reputable store, maybe on TCG Player, something like that. But going back to the centering of the Zapdos, I'll kind of measure what I'm concerned about. I'll zoom in here in just a second. There we go. Now I'm really zoomed in. All right, so this is just a really loose example. Again, definitely do this in person. You'll have a way better accuracy, but this is just to kind of help you guys visualize Nope, we don't want an arrow. We want a line. There we go. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4 on the top. And then on the bottom, we have 1, 2, 3, 3.5, 4. Yeah, so the bottom looks good. That's really what I was worried about. But it is a little bit bowed, so it might be the picture kind of giving it a little bit of a wiggle room. But I got both ETBs, dude. That's sick. Congrats. That's awesome. Chris, thank you for the follow, by the way. So the front looks good. In terms of the back, the only thing that I see, and this is one of those kind of issues where I don't know if it's the background or the card, but I'll try to highlight it as much as I can for you guys, is this bottom corner right here. So right above where my mouse is on screen, which is in the bottom left, that's where I'm kind of seeing some possible whitening, which is going to kind of give us a little bit of issues here, which would probably prevent you from getting the 10 because of that. We do also have some mild surface issues on that right side and possibly some more whitening on that bottom right as well. So that is probably, those 2 points specifically, probably going to prevent you from getting that 10. To be quite honest with you. But again, that's really kind of the issue with Modern. It's either centering or corners or a combination of the two. That always kind of messes up folks. Let me just catch up with chat real quick. I do wonder how profitable botting is. I mean, there's enough of it to where it's a constant issue. I want to see if you're good. Oh, nice, Ian. Well, I'll do my best, my friend. And I have no idea what that is, but thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. Maverick, thanks for the follow. Have you heard of BLM? No. For Black Label metrics, I have not. Let's see. Yeah, I primarily, like what Chris is saying, I primarily just grade from a PSA's perspective. It's purely because I have the most experience with it. That's pretty much it. What program are you using to look at the cards? Yeah, so really all I'm using is just 2 Chrome extensions. So the first one I'm using is the magnifying glass hover zoom extension. And then the second one is draw on page. And then for the centering, I'm literally just using the snipping tool baked into Windows. That's pretty much it. Nice, Maverick. Yeah, you can certainly submit. I mean, the queue is closed for tonight, but you can submit in the Greater Review channel in the Discord. The link is in the bio in the link tree. The Respectful Guy. Thank you for respectfully following. Thank you. All right, let's take a look at this Latios. Centering looks good. Corners look great. I'm not seeing any print lines on the hollow. Tula, thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. Yeah, if we hit, I think it's, if we hit 10 or 15K, we unlock a weekly giveaway. So if you guys want a weekly giveaway for free, if we hit, I think it's 10K likes, like what Chris is saying, if we hit 10K likes, a free giveaway is unlocked. So let's see. And that can range from anything from a sticker pack to one of our mystery crates, which is 75 value. Front looks good. Back, again, it's kind of the same thing with that surface, the background surface, is that there might be a little bit of whitening there on the top right, but this is a really good example. A lot of people ask me, you know, kind of the significance of whitening. And this is one of those ones that is like so small and so minuscule that I have seen some with a similar kind of very faint white dot that have gotten 10s, but I've also seen some in the same vein get 9s as well. So that, I would kind of coin that as kind of a gambler's 10, to where it can kind of go either way, if that's the only one. There might be also one on the bottom left-hand side too, and if that's the case, if there is like 2 of them, then it's most likely that you wouldn't get the 10 because of the 2 white dots. But if it's just the one, you're kind of leaning more on a gambler's 10. Because again, I've seen it go either way on that one. And then the Sideways Venusaur. We'll kind of look at this, and we're all probably kind of cranking our necks here. But the centering looks good. Corners look good. I'm just kind of taking a quick peek here. Because I'll kind of have to move this a little bit so you guys can see what I'm looking at. Wiggly, thanks for the follow. Once I'm done with the Pikachu mans, I'll let you know. But Chris looks like he's helping me out. I appreciate you, Chris. As always, my friend. A little bit of some scuffing here, which is odd. I rarely see this on Modern. But right where the tip of my mouse is, there appears to be a little bit of some surface issues, which might be kind of holding you back. But aside from that, the corners look good. With some print lines on the, and hopefully, I don't know if you guys will be able to see this, but right where my mouse is to the left, you can kind of see a print line kind of going across here, across the E, across the M. I'm trying to trace it with my mouse. I don't know if you guys can see that, but so I'd say with that, in addition to that corner, this one might not get the 10 because of that possible issue with the bottom left or the bottom right-hand corner and that print line. But thanks, Chris. I appreciate you, man. All right, and the Pikachu. Let's take a look. Centering looks good. Corners look great. Chris, thank you for liking the live. Appreciate you. Let's see. Yeah, centering looks great. Corners look good. Nothing wrong there. The only thing that I can see, though, and again, guys, this is really, we really need to just kind of pay attention to all aspects of the card, and normally I wouldn't see it on something like this with the texturing. And I'm trying to make sure that it's not on my monitor here. But you can kind of see, I don't know what this is, right underneath that 3. So that either might be dirt, or it just might be just weirdly enough, because kind of how the texture of the foil kind of looking like that. So if that is dirt, if you left that on there, that would impact the surface, which would result in you not getting the 10. But if it's just the angle or just something with the texture, I wouldn't worry about it too much. But on the back is kind of the same thing. In addition, you have some corner issues, unfortunately. And the big one that I'm noticing right here. So I feel like that's kind of, that blue is just barely hanging on there. So I feel like if you kind of even brush that with your finger, that little blue speck inside of that white outline would kind of come right off. So I'd say just from this alone, this card would not 10 because of that. And you can also see a print line kind of going across the back. It's not as huge because the light is really making it obvious. But there is that. So yeah, so now that I'm done with that Pikachu, before I move on to the next one, which is actually going to be the Umbreon EX, which is kind of crazy. Let me just get this all organized here real quick. So let me just catch up with chat real quick for you guys. So I'll go over how to submit your cards, because I see a few people asking. How often do I do these grades? I do these every Wednesday, like what Chris is saying. So if you guys want to know how to submit your cards, I'll go over that real quickly. And so, if you're watching me on Twitch or YouTube, the link is in the description. If you're watching me on TikTok, the link is in the bio. So once you click the link and go to the link tree, you're going to click or tap the Discord icon. If you're on mobile, just make sure to have the app installed, otherwise it might act a little weird. Next, once you're there, you're going to go to the grade review channel and submit your cards in the grade review channel. Just make sure to follow the rules that are highlighted in the pinned messages. For example, I can't review a card that is in a sleeve or a top loader because I don't know if there is damage on the sleeve, the top loader, or the card. So if you want me to be as accurate as I possibly can, just make sure to follow those rules and we'll be all good. And like I mentioned, the service is absolutely free and it always will be, but it is first come, first serve, and I'll only review the first 5 cards per person per stream. So you can submit as many as you want, but for example, if it's your turn, you submit 20, I'll only review the first 5 that week, and so on and so forth. However, if you do want to support me and what I do, in addition to getting priority grade review, which means that you kind of cut the line ahead of non-subscribers, the Discord server also offers subscriptions. So on screen, you'll see 3 subscriptions. So Cadet, Pilot, and General. The cheapest option, which is $4.99 a month, will give you not only access to priority grade review, but also give you other incentives, such as being able to enter in the Discord monthly giveaway. So this month, the giveaway prize for the month of May is actually a Pokemon Breakpoint Check Lane blister with the Pikachu promo. So this is only available to Discord subscribers. So if you want those benefits and more, and want to support me, I not only appreciate it, but that is the best way to kind of skip the line if you want faster grades. So that's how you do it. Okay. Yeah, right, Chris? Save those thumbs, my man. Save those thumbs. All right, so next up is the Big Chase from Prismatic, the Umbreon EX. I think I think I've only seen this card in graded form at the shows that I've been to specifically. I'm hoping I got another show coming up on the 17th. It'd be pretty cool to see. But how much quicker do subscribers get cards graded? So subscribers get, so each week I'll post the queue for the week, and I always start with the highest subscription going down. So it goes, so for example, next Wednesday, so it would be episode 67, I first go to the generals, then the pilot tier, then the cadet tier, and then the non-subs where I left off. So it'd probably be as soon as next week. Overdue. Thank you for sharing the live. Appreciate you. So that's kind of how it works. And that just happens every week too. So if you submit every week, chances are you're good. What company is this grading through? So I don't actually work for a specific grading company per se, but all of the kind of topics and areas that I'm focusing on are based off of PSA's grading standards. All right, so Umbreon EX. This one's going to be a big one, so we gotta pay attention here a little bit. So, as I said before, for Modern, the two biggest issues that I always see on Modern is centering and corners. So far, the centering is perfect. I'm not seeing anything wrong with that. The corners as well, I'm not seeing any issues there as well. So far, so good. The texture looks really good, so can't really complain there. And unfortunately, there are some issues, and if anyone wants to kind of highlight them in chat, just to make sure if anyone has any questions, because again, my main goal is to make sure that you guys understand when you are looking for grading plays out in the wild that we all know what's going on. So, yep. You guys are seeing what I'm seeing. So we have at least one on the top left, one on the bottom left, and one on the top right. So even with that, we're starting to even kind of get into the 8 range. The other kind of thing that I'm also noticing, guys, is, and although it might be the lighting effect, this left edge as well. So this is really important if you guys are trying to look for grading plays online, especially like on eBay or Facebook Marketplace or anything like that, is always make sure to kind of pay attention to where the light source is coming in from. So, for example, we see the light source coming from the bottom right-hand side here. So if it's kind of coming across this whole side, there should be no reflection. However, if you look kind of on this left side, you can kind of see that it's a little bit illuminated, which to me tells me that there might be even a little bit of an edge, like kind of like an edge issue. Not so much as like man-made per se, but might be lifted from the pack or how it was opened. So those are always some things, even just kind of looking at cards online that you're trying to pick up, kind of take note on where those light sources are coming from. Because if you don't, then you might be able to miss some stuff. So this might even be, anywhere from like an 8, even a 7, depending on how bad that left side is. So it's always important to kind of keep that in. What card is this? Well, Lucas, this is an Umbreon EX. So, Torres, thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. Okay. Let's see. So I have an odd grading question that I've only found on one card. Do little teeth affect grade? They're white marks, but they're separated. Are you talking about, like, when you talk about teeth, are you talking about, like, when the pack, kind of like the indentation of a pack? Is that what you're talking about? Would you be able to review PSA 9s to see if it would be worth cracking? So it's kind of difficult, to be quite honest with you. big if it's a picture of the slab. Because I really can't tell if it's on the slab specifically. I wouldn't be able to do it during a grader view, but maybe like if you posted it in the media channel of the Discord, we could probably look at it too. Just to kind of do it like off the stream, if that makes sense. But I don't want to be held like, oh, like that scratch is probably keeping it, but I don't know if it's on the slab or whatever. You know what I mean? But yeah, I'd say post it in the media channel. There's a lot of people that like to help out there too. Yeah, I agree, Noosh. And that's another really good point too, guys. It's not obviously a guaranteed, but another thing to consider if you're going to a show and trying to look for potential grading plays is don't ignore the PSA 9 grades at booths, because sometimes, like what New Shadow is saying, is that sometimes there are instances where 9s have a possibility to be regraded as 10s, if you find a really good one. So don't overlook the 9s at a show, because I would imagine if you're trying to look for grading plays, those are probably going to be the ones that yield the better results versus trying to look for a card that is ungraded. Because in most cases, either the person, like sellers or like attendees at a show, are either going to, assess their cards ahead of time and pick out the 10 worthy cards before they sell it or trade it to a vendor. Or if a vendor has slabs, assume that they've already picked out all the 10 contenders anyway, because they would have just graded them on their own. So 9s, in my opinion, are another really good way of looking for potential grading plays. So that's just my 2 cents, especially from my own experience as a vendor. I really need to get into the queue. I have a few cards I want to check out. Well, definitely, Jeremy. Definitely, I would definitely submit if you're looking for a free grade review without like kind of getting the priority, which is totally fine. I'd probably submit sooner rather than later. Right now, the last one, or where I left off, was at least April 5th was where I left off. So about a month ago. All right, so next up, we have No Gas in Diesel. So we have one of the big chase cards from Fossil, first edition, might I add, is the Dragonite from Fossil. And as a reminder too, guys, if anyone has any other generic questions, even outside of grading what we're doing right now, as a side note, I do vend. I've been doing it for a little over a year now. Kind of started from the ground up. So if anyone has any questions about like product or vendors, or kind of my opinion from a vendor's perspective or from a buyer's perspective, or like things that you might need to consider when going to your first show, definitely let me know. I'm here for you guys. I'm here as a resource. I like to do this to kind of offer to the community, because right now Pokemon's in a really kind of chaotic state, and there's a lot of different directions people tend to get pulled into, and so I'm here to help as much as I can. So today these weekly streams are for you. So if you guys have any questions, please feel free to let me know. I'll try to do my best to read them as much as I can. All right, so the Dragonite. So far, the centering on this Dragonite is really good. Now, the one thing that I will say about anything that is colorless, I appreciate that, Elvis. Thank you so much. Is colorless cards like Snorlax, Dragonite, Lugia from Neo, all those cards, or Chansey, Clefairy, are extremely hard to grade because colorless cards tend to have very light backgrounds, which allows us to see scratches much more easily. So that kind of goes back to when I was talking about a little bit earlier in the stream, which is kind of that one of the fifth hidden grading criteria, which is eye appeal. And so that's why colorless cards are so much harder to grade, because of that eye appeal, meaning that the scratches, if you were to kind of carry that over to maybe a grass type or a fire type, it might not be as easy to see, but when put on a colorless like a Dragonite, it's much easier to see. So even if it's the exact same scratch, the exact same depth, the exact same positioning, it's just easier to see on a colorless type. So that's kind of why I kind of like to mention that. But so far, it's looking really good, but let's take a look. So the top right corner looks good. As we kind of go across the edge here, so far so good. So the first thing that I'm noticing, and I think this is the first time we've seen this during tonight's stream, is what I like to call and what the community calls silvering. So what silvering is, so you can kind of see me kind of gently highlighting it with my mouse here. So silvering is during the process of when these cards were cut from the sheet. The actual cutting tool that was used to cut these off the sheet, the blade itself, would go through thousands upon thousands of sheets over and over and over again. So Wizards of the Coast didn't have time to, replace these blades. They didn't really care, didn't need to be an exact cut every time. So as these blades continued to cut, they would get dull over time. So those dull blades would result in part of the yellow being removed from that top layer to show the holographic underneath. So that's why when we refer to silvering, it's because the blades that were used to cut this card off of the sheet was becoming too dull and needed to probably be replaced. But back then, Wizards didn't care. They're printing to demand, and they didn't care how fast these cards went out. So that's a little bit of a tidbit. When you see that silvering on that edge, that's what that's for, or what that refers to. So we do have a little bit of, I don't know if it's like little fuzzy hairs or dirt, but right within my mouse here, you can kind of see here and here a little bit of dirt or grime or something like that we can probably wipe off to save us from having an issue with the surface. So far, I think you can probably wipe that off without any issue. But the Dragonite, this is really kind of where I'm really kind of holding my breath. Because the holo, from what I can see at first glance, this is an extremely, extremely clean Dragonite. I'm not seeing any print lines. I'm not seeing any scratches. I don't know if you guys are, but this is an extremely clean Dragonite from the perspective of the holo. And so I'm hoping when we flip it over, it's just as good. So let's hope here. And, it's not bad. It is a little bit thicker on this left side than the right, but if we're kind of basing it off of, PSA standards specifically, we're in that 75-25, so I'm not too worried about that. Top right corner looks fine. Top left corner looks okay. A little bit of whitening there, but that might just be a fuzz or just by the light. So not too worried about that. Again, those little bits of white there as well. So we have that bottom right-hand corner also looks really good. But I don't know if that's by lighting or what. But aside from that, it's looking really good. I think we should have enough people. For it's the other way, New Shadow. I don't know about the back, but so I think we should have enough people. This is actually a really good opportunity to see what you guys think. So if you guys want to vote on what you think this Dragonite would get as a PSA grade, I'm going to actually open it up to you guys. So if you want to vote, type in ! grade followed by the number you think this Dragonite would get as a PSA grade. So again, that's ! grade followed by the number you think this Dragonite would get as a PSA grade. So here is the front of the Dragonite. And the only thing that I also saw too is possibly a little bit of dirt up there above the A. But that's about it. So there's the front. And there's the back. So again, if you guys want your vote to be cast to ultimately have the chat grade, type in ! grade followed by the number. So the winning vote will be the chat grade. And that can be on Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, once it kind of all adds together. So again, that's ! grade followed by the number if you want your vote to be cast on what you think this card would get as a PSA grade. And so while you guys are voting, I'm going to catch up with chat real quick. I'll leave it up for about a minute. So let me just kind of check you guys here. Let's see. And once I'm done with this submission, I'll go over. I see a few people asking how to submit. I'll go over once I'm done with No Gas's submission here. Seth, thank you for liking the live. And I appreciate, if I missed anyone, I appreciate you guys liking the live. It really does mean a lot. And if you guys are new here, welcome. I do this every Wednesday. This is my kind of opportunity to help the community with grading and having a better understanding of grading. Do I have to take it out of the sleeve? Yes. Because if there's a scratch, if I'm looking at it on stream, I won't know if it's on the sleeve or on the card. Because otherwise I can't give you an accurate grade. Alright, so let's close the poll here. So you guys, on average, by one vote, you guys are thinking a PSA 9, which would be huge for this, for sure. So chat. So far, you guys are thinking a PSA 9. So now it is my turn. So what do I think this Dragonite would get? Again, centering is really good. The only thing I'm really seeing is kind of that silvering on this left side. So far, so good there. The only thing that I noted in the beginning was these look to be a little bit just like fuzzies. I'm sure you can just kind of wipe that off pretty easily. The real big winner, in my eyes, is that there's really no print lines or scratches on this holo. So that's really, really big. So on the back, things that we see kind of more fuzzies as well on these left edges. Probably wipe most of that off. The back, since it's a little bit grainier from the photos perspective, so it's kind of difficult to really narrow down like this right edge. But I think within what we're talking about, it looks pretty good. And I also think that these little white specks on top might be just from the lighting and some of those dimples in the cardstock is kind of reflecting some of that light. But aside from that, it looks really good. There is some print lines on the back here, or what it looks to be print lines. But I would say the biggest thing that we really need to kind of not overlook in this example is the silvering. So we see a little bit of silvering possibly on the top here, but more so on this left side. And I know it's really, really hard to probably see on stream. It's even kind of difficult for me to see. But it's something that we really can't ignore either. So in this example, I have seen some that have been in this good condition that have gotten 9s. But I've also seen some that have gotten 8s or even 7s. What about the white fur on the left back? Let's take a look. So this might be just lighting, but I also see what you're talking about too. Or it might be kind of a camera blur effect. But I would definitely... So something like this is actually a really good point that you brought up, Daniel. Is sometimes I'll use like painter's tape to kind of, if those are little like fuzzies on the side there, you can kind of just stick them and kind of stick some of that off. It's not altering the card anyway. It's just a little bit of like some extra stuff on the side that you can kind of stick on. But that's a good observation, Daniel. So I'd say you're kind of on the fence between a 9 or an 8 in my opinion. But I think just because of how long this strip of silvering is, I want to lean more towards an 8 than a 9. Just because of the length. So from my perspective, to make it a little bit easier for you guys to kind of visually see. So from this point here, and then right about here is where I kind of see some of that very mild silvering on this left edge. But still, an extremely clean card nonetheless. But I've kind of seen it go both ways between a 9 or an 8, to be quite honest with you. So chat, you guys are thinking 9. Which is a very solid assessment for what you guys can even see, which is actually pretty impressive. And I'm thinking more of a 9 to an 8, really just like the silvering I've kind of seen kind of teeter both ways. That's kind of why I'm not really committing to one or the other. But if I had to commit to one, I'd probably lean more towards the 8 than the 9. But that's just my opinion. I work at PSA, that's a 7. That makes sense if you work at PSA, for sure. I kid. All right. I'm just going to go to the bathroom real quick. So don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. All right. So next up, we have the Golem from the Legendary Collection. Easily some of my favorite reverses for sure. So let's take a look. So this angle is going to be a little bit difficult to see if there's any print lines or anything like that in the bottom. So we do kind of have that kind of going against us. But the centering on this is actually really good. Top, bottom, left, right, and really, really good. But unfortunately, you really can't see much in this section here. Really can't see too much. So we kind of have to take that with a grain of salt. But at least the centering is good. Corners look good. So I'm in New York, so it just depends on where I'm vending Roach. So sometimes it's 7, sometimes 8.5, sometimes it's 8. Okay, let's see. Left heavy? I don't really think so. I mean, we can kind of do this real quick, I guess. I mean, granted, I am doing this on a monitor, but I think it kind of highlights the point here. So if we're going to do this here. We're going to go boom. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4-ish on that left. And on the right, we got from here to here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. So left and the right are pretty close, or pretty even. So at least on the front, it's not left heavy from what I can measure. And then on the back, back's pretty good, with the exception of probably, I don't know what this is. I mean, again, this is a little bit blurry, so it's kind of difficult to see really. But we do have a little bit of an issue here on the left side, a little bit of whitening possibly, and as well as on the bottom right as well. So I'd say, you know, granted the back is kind of tough and the lighting on this one's a little bit tough. So this one is kind of too difficult for me to really give like an accurate grade on, more because of the back and more of the texture. So you're probably ranging, you know, if there's no print lines, the centering is good, the corners are good. I don't know if there's any issues on the edges. This one on the left side looks to be a little bit of an issue, as well as the bottom right. But I'm really, really hesitant, especially on the hollow section. So it can kind of be wherever. I mean, I would say if we're going to just kind of base just off of this left side and possibly what's kind of going on the bottom right and that left side, you're probably starting at an 8. And then probably getting worse if there's more scratches on this. But that's about it. So I'd probably say start at an 8. And then if there's any issues on the hollow, it really kind of just goes down from there, would be my guess. All right, and then next up is your boy Chris is up next. And then extra, let me show you how to do that as I load these up. Give me 1 second here. The card looks a little off now that I'm looking at it in full screen. That card looks a little off. I'm not gonna lie to you. Yes. Yeah, Chris and Betty got me. Thank you. Thank you. Alright, so first up, for Chris, we got the Blaziken V. So let's take a look. Centering looks good. Corners, there's a little bit of some issue here. I don't know what's kind of stuck on there, right above where my mouse is. Additionally, you have some, what appears to be some stuff stuck on the edge here. So we have 1, possibly 2 at the base of that V. So as we go across, we also see another little white speck stuck on that black border. I mean, honestly, I agree, Betty. For sure. I definitely agree. The Discord is in the link in my bio, my friend. If you go to my link tree and you just click that bad boy right there. But I agree. I think trainer galleries are very overlooked. But bottom looks good. The right side looks good. It's just those little white specks I think we can just try to remove if possible. So the back looks good. In terms of centering, I always start with centering first. TK, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. Top right corner. Top right corner looks okay. Top left corner looks okay. Left edge looks good. Bottom left looks good. Bottom right looks good. So the only thing that I can see, and I'll actually see, because I think you guys should be able to see it. I'll even zoom in just a tad. You guys see a possible issue on the surface that might give us some issues with this being that would prevent the 10 if left untreated. Let's see if anyone sees it. And while I wait for someone to see if they see what I'm seeing, I'm gonna catch up with chat real quick. Yeah, I see one great guess so far. You got it. Yep, you guys are seeing it. It's this little dot right here. So that to me looks more of like a dirt speck than anything. But it really goes to show, and I think this is also a really good point to bring up too, that some people might not really consider, is if this was left untreated or simply left on there, PSA isn't going to remove something like that for you. They basically grade at the state that they receive it in. They're not going to wipe the dirt. They're not going to wipe the grime. They're not going to do any of that. They're going to, if you gave it to them like that, they're going to give it back to you like that. So don't give them any more wiggle room or any leeway. Always try to make sure to remove that with something like even as simple as Q-tip and some distilled water, or a microfiber cloth with a little bit of distilled water. It's not altering the card in any way. You're just basically removing the dirt. It's no different than if you left a fingerprint on the card and you decided to wipe it off. That isn't considered alteration, nor would removing that be considered alteration. So that looks like something that could be removed, and it looks like it's something stuck on. So we'll just kind of assume that that is, just for the sake of argument, I guess. Because the other stuff, like especially on this side right here, that little bit of white can probably be removed, and like all these little white specks can probably be removed. And if so, then this probably has a pretty good shot at being a 10. What magnifying tool am I using, Bruce? I'm using a Chrome extension called a Magnifying Glass Hover Zoom is what I'm using. And I think this card looks a bit fake to me. And so I kind of wanted to hold this on stream, because first I wanted to see if you guys agree. And second, I'll tell you kind of one of the things that I'm also kind of seeing as to why I think this card might be fake. So let's see. So let's see if you guys see it. I know Betty does, but I think this is a good... I want to see if you guys can catch some of the signs here, because I think this is really, really important. Mr. Goda, what's going on? Thank you for the follow, my friend. Yep. Yep, Chris. You got it. Betty's got it. So, there you go. So, so you guys are pretty much hitting it on the head here. So, normally I wouldn't review, obviously, a fake card. But I think this is really, really important, because especially now, more than ever, there are a ton of fakes out there. And I really, really feel bad for, if they think that this is, was real or whatever. It obviously sucks at the end of the day. But I think it's a really important thing to keep in mind. So the first one is that these cards are textured. So you can see as we kind of look across the foil, there's no texturing at all whatsoever. No texturing. So that's the first full tell sign. The other one is the print quality. So if we look at the letters, you can kind of see that they're a little bit fuzzy, right? So there's a little bit of an issue going on. So they're not crisp. They're kind of blurry. So where that kind of comes in from is the print quality of the printer isn't really there. So the font itself is another kind of giveaway in this case. And you kind of see a little bit blurry on that side. And also this kind of rainbowy texture is a common foil type that is used to kind of give off that hollow look. And so when we go to the back as well, you can kind of see a lot of these bigger print dots on the back here. So the Pokeball is a little bit darker. The dots per inch are much larger. Very, very noticeable on the back specifically. So so if we kind of take a look here, so this was the back of the Blaziken that we just looked at, right? So super clean, so much lighter on this side, because this is obviously the same lighting and the same everything. And so you can kind of see, if we kind of go back and forth, that this one is the fake one, and this one is the real one. So you can kind of see even some of the print quality on the back is a little bit off. So those are obviously some signs that we have to start looking for, right? Fakes are running rampant, and we all have to kind of need to know what to look for. I'm sure it is possible. I'm not saying that it's like impossible to have fakes never have texture, but it's a costly process. So you have to think with people who manufacture fakes, they're trying to maximize their profit with as little investment as possible, right? Or just depending on how large the fake manufacturer is. So in this example, right, they probably didn't want to put too much effort into making it textured, which results in this just flat image. So that's exactly what Chris is saying. It's from kind of like their return on their investment. They're kind of playing into the laws of like averages, right? To where, out of 100 people, if you get 10 to buy in, then that's enough, right? You don't need to get all 100. Austin, thank you for the follow. Yes, Chris, exactly. All right, so next up is Cruisin'. So let's take a look at that. So this is exactly what I was talking about with that texturing, obviously, so you can kind of see these textured areas. So this one's good. We're chilling on this one for sure. So let's take a look. So the Gyarados EX looking really good for centering. Not really worried about that at all. Top right corner looks good. Top left corner looks good. The only thing that I'd probably double check, but I don't know if it's just from the hollow and the texture, it's just this little bit right here. I want to lean more towards that being the hollow, so I'm not too worried about that. Underneath the hero of Arita. The Gyarados looking really clean. I'm kind of looking at the areas that are untextured, like the Gyarados specifically. Because all the other stuff, it's like the texturing is so difficult to really pinpoint any scratches. So like I often look at the EX rule or the text boxes, stuff like that, to kind of gauge. Once I'm done with this submission, Austin, I'll go through unless a moderator wants to help me out. I appreciate the mods, and we definitely have to give it up for the mods because they've definitely been helping me out tonight on helping folks kind of learn on how to submit your cards and all that fun stuff. But I'll definitely go over at the end just in case. So the only thing that I really see on the top here is this whitening right here. So this is a really good example. So again, people ask me, what's the impact of whitening on the card or on the corners rather. And from what I can tell, where my mouse is, so we have 1-2 bits of whitening here on the top right. So if it was just one, we're kind of leaning more towards what I'm kind of calling, I guess, more of like a gambler's 10, because I've seen some with like, if it was just that dot, which like a little bit less of an impact, would kind of be, I've seen some get 10s, I've seen some get 9s, but the fact that we're seeing 1, 2, even possibly 3 on this right side, we're kind of getting away from that 10 altogether. But, just from that, the top left corner, bottom left corner, and the bottom right corners, as well as all 4 edges, because you can't really see, obviously, because of the light source on the top, but, or on the side here, if there's any edge wear. But my guess is just because of how clean the rest of the card is, my guess is that there's probably nothing else wrong with it. But I'd probably lean more towards this card not getting the 10 because of that whitening on the top, or on the back, top right, which is unfortunate, but I'd probably lean more towards a 9 based off of what I'm seeing on that Gyarados EX. And next up with the Pikachu V, Brandon, I'll go over how to go and submit your cards here in a second. So just give me one sec. So, with the Pikachu V, centering looks good. It does not goated. Nope, it's a completely free service. There are ways that you could subscribe to the Discord server to get priority grade review at a subscription cost, but the inherent grading for free will always be free. Shira and DJ, thank you for the followers. Appreciate that. Yeah, so centering is really good. Corners look good. Yeah, surface looks great. Let's hope that it's equally as good on the back. So top right corner looks good. The only thing that I'm kind of seeing is possibly a little bit of some whitening kind of stuck on that top edge, or on that top left corner. So not too worried about that, but that's probably the only thing I can see, to be quite honest with you, on this Pikachu. I'm not seeing any issues on the other corners or on the edges. So I'd probably just make sure to touch that up or clean that off or wipe that off. I'm not really too sure what that is, but just make sure you deal with that. And you should be good. The rest of the card looks great. And then the Charizard EX. Let's take a look. So the corners look good. Centering looks good. Aside from that, because the texturing is obviously really crazy, so it's kind of difficult to see any issues, but the corners and centering looks good. And on the back, top right corner looks great. Top edge looks good. Possibly some whitening on that top left-hand corner, but I might be the background. I'm not too sure, so kind of keep that in the back of your head. Bottom left corner, a little bit of whitening, and as well as possibly here. So I think the fact that I think that there's at least 1, 2, or 3 points of whitening, even if like 1 or 2 of them was not whitening based off the picture or based off of what's on the background, it might be kind of, again, more of that Gambler's 10. And now that I'm actually kind of looking at it a little bit more, we also see what appears to be some whitening on this right edge as well. So if all of that is true, then you're kind of leaning more towards a 9 than a 10, and possibly an 8 if all of them are true. But probably more than the 9 because the centering on the back is really good too. So yeah, that is those submissions. And as a final recap, so if you guys are wondering how the entire process on how to submit your cards for a grade review, I'm about to go over that right now. So if you're watching me on Twitch or YouTube, my link is in the description. If you're watching me on TikTok, my link is in my bio. Once you click the link, which is a Linktree link, you just simply click or tap the Discord icon on the top. If you're on mobile, you'll need to make sure that you have the Discord app installed. Otherwise, it might give you some issues. Once you're there, you're going to go to the grade review channel and submit your cards. Again, it's a completely free service. Just make sure to follow the rules on when you're submitting your pictures. For example, your cards cannot be in top loader sleeves, because if there's a scratch, I don't know if it's on the sleeve or the top loader or the card, and it just makes my evaluation and our evaluation as chat much more inefficient. And ultimately, we can't really help you as well as we could. So just make sure to follow the rules. If you have any issues or having issues looking at the pinned messages, one of us as a moderator team will be happy to help you out as well. And as I said before, grading services when we do these live streams, which is every Wednesday at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, is absolutely free and always will be free. However, with that, it is a first come, first serve, and I only review 5 cards per person per stream per week. So for example, if you submit 20 cards, I'll only review the first 5 week 1, and then the second 5 week 2, so on and so forth. So just kind of keep that in mind. The last, where I left off last, to kind of give you an example, was I left off at April 5th was the submission I'm going to be looking at for the non-subs. And so having said that, with subscriptions, if you want priority grade review, the Discord server does offer subscriptions starting at $4.99 a month and up. So you can kind of see that on screen now. So we have Cadet, Pilot, and General. So either of those subscriptions will grant you not only priority grade review, but it will also allow you to be entered into monthly Discord giveaways and other cool perks. So as an example, this week or this month, our giveaway is giving away a Pokemon Breakpoint Check Lane blister with the Pikachu promo. So that is exclusive to Discord subs. So in addition to priority, you also get entered in that and some other cool perks as well that is listed in the description tiers. So that is everything in a nutshell on how to do that. So having said that, what's going on, chat? If you guys have never seen me before, what's up? Now we're just going to go to just chatting because we're going to be wrapping it up here. But I just want to say what's up. If you guys have any final questions before I wrap it up for the evening. I just did finish up a show. I just processed a ton of these cards. So we're going to be continuing to do that. I have a show on May 17th that I'm going to be preparing for. So yeah. That is a grade review. So we do these every Wednesday. Normally I start them around 7:15 Eastern Standard Time. So I'll be doing that. This is probably, episode 66, I think, at this point. So we'll be doing that even more. Keep on keeping on until you guys are done with it. So, but it seems like you guys enjoy it. So I've always enjoyed doing it. So yeah, if there are no other questions, I'll give it a little bit more. If you guys have any questions about grading or the Pokemon business, like I said, I vend and I buy cards, I clean cards, I do a bunch of stuff from a business perspective. So yeah, at the end of the day, these sessions are nice to kind of help you guys navigate and gives me a chance to yap about the hobby. For example, the new black and white set dropped today as a pre-order for Pokemon Center. It's no surprise no one could really get in. Some of you actually on stream said that you were able to get your boxes, which is cool. It's the first dual set released in Pokemon, which is really cool. So super stoked to see that. It wouldn't let me join the Discord. What happens when you click the link? Because it seems like it works for most people. I haven't seen any errors or anything like that. So if you're on mobile, you might have to do it on desktop if you're trying to do it on mobile. Because if you don't have the app installed, it's going to give you some issues. But so yeah. All right, guys. Well, if that is it, I'm going to continue. Sends me to the App Store. I'd probably just try it on desktop at that point. Sorry, it's not working for you. But all right, guys. Well, that's it for me tonight. I'm probably going to be doing a kind of spontaneous stream on the weekend, or either Friday or Saturday. I'm not too sure yet. I have 2 cards I have to clean. I have to clean a Charizard, and I have to clean a Shining Charizard, which will be really cool. The Shining Charizard is for a community member of mine who I said I'd help her out. So that'd be really cool. So yeah, I'll be doing that and just kind of hanging out with you guys. And I still have to kind of keep churning and burning through these cards I picked up over the weekend. I have a ton, Austin. Yep. So if you just go to my YouTube, I have a bunch of stuff. I have a VOD that I streamed on Monday. So yeah. So I appreciate all the love and support. It seemed like we had a lot of people join tonight's stream, so it's always cool to see new faces and answer a lot of cool questions. At the end of the day, I love doing that. It's not just about, selling cards for me. At the end of the day, I'm trying to be as helpful as I can at the end of the day. How important is it to clean cards for grading? I think it's super important, I am done for the day. Yep, it is almost 9:30. I have videos to edit. I have cards to inventory. I have cards to price. Because I have a show May 17th, and time is counting down. What did the Mew get? The Ancient Mew? I think that was the only Mew I reviewed tonight. The Ancient Mew got a 1, possibly. Or possibly a card that can't be graded. Which show? It's up in my local area. Up in New York. But I'll make sure to do some recaps on that too. But, alright guys. Well, like I said, really nice stream. Glad you guys were able to come out. If you're not joining the Discord, make sure to do so. Have some updates coming out. Have a great night, and I'll catch you guys